Hi, guys, and welcome to Trucking Along with Kiersey. That's me, your positive voice in trucking. I figured I would do a live because I am here in Springfield, Missouri at the Prime Terminal for our driver advisory board meeting. There are several of us, well, there's a group of us, about 40 people get together at a meeting and with drivers and management to come together to improve Prime. But Maureen, I figured I'd give her an update. Maureen is out on the road. She took my truck, she dropped me off here, and she went out to go deliver. So I want to see if notifications went out. Oh, I see people. There's Elite. Hi. And Starwin and John. How are you guys doing? RN, Rick, nice to see you guys. So what is going on today? Hey, Mad Dog, good to see you. So anyway, Maureen wound up taking out my truck for the first time. She went solo. Yes, she's been with me 6 months, but she's been really nervous about backing. So I was able to make sure that she got a Walmart load. So it gave her a couple days of freedom where she could get away from me, and we'll see how she does. Hi, Beetle. Hi, Julio and AC and Leon, Kenworth Rider. How you guys doing? Where's everybody at? Let me know. And so she took a load down the Walmart. It's a couple days away, and she already got a load out of Mississippi where she's going to be coming back to get me. Trucking through Utah. Ooh. All right. In Utah, I really like taking that road that goes down through Moab, down like 191 to 491. There's a lot of cool scenery there. AC says you're at Prime. Are you in Prime in Springfield? Because I am too. Maybe we could go meet up tonight. I am going to be on Lockout Men podcast. So we're going to do a live over there. Up in Oregon, where you going over Cabbage? How bad was that? US 191 just came up that yesterday. Isn't that beautiful? On a really nice day, that's a beautiful ride. One of these days I'm going to stop off at Moab and I'm going to do um you know, the whole riverboat thing and the rope bridges and the dune buggies. I think it would be cool to go flying across the dune sands and stuff. You're at campus. I'm right next door. So after this live, if you want to come over and meet me at Oasis, we could go sit down and talk at we could sit in the restaurant downstairs and meet. And then that way, if you need anything or have any issues, you could always come find me or call me or whatever. If you're alive, just keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up. You listen to my videos all the time. Well, mwah, thank you, James. I appreciate that. Check out this lighting. I was trying to fix the lighting to get rid of some of these wrinkles. I think it makes my blue eyes come out, though. I'm in competition with Elite for the blue eye thing. The other night he had a video. If you guys don't know Elite, check him out. He's becoming a really good friend of mine, and yes, he's into drama stuff, but he has some really good educational videos, which I want to clip. He has this video. Go look for it. He's delivering in Chicago. And he does this inner city Chicago. At around 17 minutes in, he starts backing in off the street. It's in the snow. He almost slips and falls. It's kind of funny, although I would never want him to get hurt. But it was kind of funny the way he said it, "Oh, you're gonna watch a redneck fall on his butt," that kind of thing. Neo, thank you for showing up. RN's at Oasis. Well, so am I. Maybe we should, well, you can both come over to Fire and Ice when this live's done, and we'll go have some, get together. We could eat or whatever. The TNT is now 30,000 miles instead of 50,000. Woohoo. That is retroactive. So anybody that's currently in training at Prime, you will be getting contacted by operations. They are going to go through and evaluate everybody because, as always, those numbers for Prime were always minimum. So if you have any kind of accidents, tickets, critical events, things like that, the miles were always able to be extended anyway. So they're going to evaluate each person. Well, thank you, Starwin. I appreciate you stopping in to say hello. Elite doesn't do drama. Okay. He doesn't do drama. I'm sorry. Actually, he has two channels now. One that's really drama, and the other one that seems like it's a little both, but we'll see. I would try to tell you to contact me because I'm a student, but I can't put my number in here. Well, that's okay. You go and email me at truckandalongfun at Gmail, and we'll get together. Michelle, thank you. You watched the Today Show. I appreciate that. Logic Neo says Elite gives me headaches. I think Elite's funny, but you know. So who wants to come in? Elite, do you want to come in here? And I'll send you. You can pop in on the StreamYard. Somebody answer me. But anyway, I think that I've met a lot of people here while I was here for the past couple days, and one thing that I do like about Prime is that they do actually take our concerns into consideration, and even when we want stupid things, like one of the drivers requested a ping pong table. They want a ping pong table in the driver's lounge. We got a movie theater and an indoor basketball court and pool tables and all kinds of stuff, but they're never satisfied. So now they want a ping pong table. And the boss just says, "Oh, I don't care. Sure, I'll pay for it. You people figure out how to get it in." And he tells his managers, drivers want a ping pong table. No, ma'am, I am just trucking. Love you, essential worker, special good job. Mwah. Thank you, Just Chuck, and I appreciate that. Um, they filmed for like over an hour and they clipped it down so much, and you guys know me. I said so much. I really did. I mean, I wanted them to know about how hard it was just for us to get food and bathrooms and toilet paper, and they just cut all that out. And I'm like, that, that really didn't show. Okay, maybe it highlighted a little bit. Hey, Rod, thanks for stopping in. I made that video about the fuel and I edited it and then I uploaded it. And when I played it, it just like kept skipping. So I have to, maybe tomorrow I'll sit there and try to work that out because I did want to do that. Um, Logic loves Elite like a brother. That's so sweet. Hi, Matt. Am I still happy being a company driver? Absolutely. And here's something interesting. Elite that's in here, he's also a company driver and he's been driving for 23 years, always his company. So there, you know, some people have this desire to go and buy a truck, and some people have a desire to have this company. Not everybody has that desire. I really don't want the headaches. And one of my really good friends, he just went and got his own authority, bought a truck, and he's out there running, and he's like, wow, you know what, I bought this truck that I think it was like $30,000. It's a day cab, and he wants to stay local, of course. And his first couple weeks he wound up paying $5,600. Now there's another issue. You know, he's really only had the truck a month or something like that. So just because you own a truck doesn't mean your problems go away. Your problems usually exacerbate. They build because now you're completely responsible for everything. If something goes wrong with my truck, I just go into the dealership and say, "Yo, Prime of the dealership," or I call up. We have a road assist department. Yo, I got a flat. Send somebody out to fix it. So it's completely different. I just don't have any stress or aggravation. The aggravation I have, I put upon myself. And it's usually just a matter of, I got to rush here to rush there. And But if it's something I physically can't do, I just message dispatch and say, yo, I don't have a jetpack today. Jason America, good to see you. How you doing? Oh, Randall's headed to orientation this month. So where are you going? Are you coming to Prime? You going to another company? What state are you going? I want to know all that stuff. Ega, how you doing? I appreciate it. Here, I'm going to put my email down the bottom. Okay. Logic might be my brother. My dad was a ladies' man. Uh-oh. Logic might really be his brother. Ega says I don't want a truck payment. No, neither do I. And it's really interesting because in our meeting yesterday, we were talking about we have a company under Prime's umbrella that leases trucks and another one that sells the used trucks. And it was really interesting because they were saying what you might want to do is have the lease, the straight lease, and then you or an ace lease, let's say with Prime they call it an ace lease, a lease purchase, and then you pay off that truck and you run it for a little bit, but then you sell it and you actually wind up using that money to lower your payments and use that down payment or a trade-in or whatever for a new truck. That way, if you're taking a truck that's worth $90,000, let's say, and putting it towards a truck that's 150,000, now your payment's a lot lower. So they were talking about, yeah, some people want to just buy a truck and run it and that kind of thing, but at the same time, you have to know where to sell it, when to sell it to make it profitable for you, so that makes your life easier in the future. And not everybody thinks about that. Does Prime Inc. equipment equip the truck with heated wipers? No, but I have heated mirrors even on my hood. Rod says he's not worried that Kiersey will deliver. Well, I'm going to tell you, I might as well just tell you here. No, I'm not going to run out of fuel anywhere. Come on, that's just stupid. Um, there are ways to get around the fuel stops. You just keep going past the fuel stops, or you go the route you want. Like if I'm supposed to fuel in Cheyenne and I'm coming from, like, somebody's in Utah right now and I'm supposed to go to Cheyenne and I don't want to go across 80, I just go down that 191 to get the I-40, and then it's going to have me fuel down in New Mexico. I know exactly where the stops are. It's not like you can't fuel. I just didn't like the way some people perceive that one video. You know, um, oh, okay, Randall, you're coming to Springfield. Well, we'll see. Hi, Tony. For those of you who don't know my friend Tony, he is a driver for CFI, and he really loves it there. He's been there a few years. He's not going to be able to comment. Matt says, thanks for the honest and detailed answer. I always try my best. Some of a lot of my subscribers are new to trucking. They're looking to get into trucking, get their CDLs. I'm never going to sit here and bash a company because the only one I've ever worked for was Prime. So I can definitely tell you about Prime. I can tell you about my friends who went to other companies, what they've told me. But even CR England, people put CR England down, but those companies work well for some people. I have a friend who had a felony and nobody would take him. So he went to CR England, got his foot in the door, stayed there for a little while and moved on. So you can use a different company as a stepping stone to get to the company that you want. And people kind of forget that this is a productivity type of career. The better you do, the more money you make. So the bums often are, lazy and they don't want to run and they don't want to do their job. They don't really, maybe they're not as efficient and they're not as conscientious as some of us others. So I might make a lot more money than somebody who has my same fleet manager. And I've seen that before. Somebody actually told me, oh, well, he's going to, he has his favorites and you're not going to get any miles and blah, blah. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, guess what? Thank God I'm one of his favorites. And you know why I'm one of his favorites? Because I run and making money. He gets paid off of my miles, whereas other companies, they get paid by the hour. So that makes a difference. This Trucker's Life, good evening. You're at the Iowa 80. Have you been to that museum? Because I've never been there, and I did a video about that truck stop, but I still got to get in there. People have told me it's really cool. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go, Philip. Can't wait to join. Love your videos, by the way. Love your eyes, too. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think it's the color blue. You know, um, this Trucker's Life, yes, I am in the hotel. And something that somebody asked me today, they're like, you're always in a hotel. Well, sometimes it looks that way because I'll just film a whole bunch of videos all at one time. And I'll even change my clothes so that it looks like different days. And I kind of spread them out. So, if you get your training through Prime, is there a contract agreement for driving with them? The training is free as long as you work a year. I don't know. It's one of those things where basically they forgive the loan. You're taking out a loan, and I think it's in the neighborhood of like about $4,500 to $5,000. And as long as you work the year, they never take anything out of your pay at all. After you get that year, they turn around and forgive that. So there are other companies like Swift that will take a weekly deduction. Swift does something that's kind of weird and confusing to people because they'll take a little amount every week for a year, and then once that year is up, they start giving you that amount back. So once you finish a year, you basically have paid half. Once you finish the second year, you've basically gotten your school for free. Keep on keeping on. Owner up or company driver with Stevens Transport. To be honest with you, my friends that were at Stevens, they basically told me when they were company drivers, they felt like they were being pressured into lease. Now, I hear that sometimes from people, and like at Prime, it doesn't seem like it's Prime that pressures people into lease. It's more like peer pressure from other drivers because you start hearing about, oh, well, I make this amount of money and I make that amount of money and I got this kind of freedom. And no, Will, yes, I got boobies, and no, you're not seeing them. Sorry. And if you don't stop, then I'll just get rid of you. I mean, don't act like a 5-year-old kid here, okay? James says, I subbed a mother trucking because of you. I watch all her videos. She's inspiring and funny. Age 45, doing DOT. Yeah, well, guess what? I'm going to be 47 in July. It's not like, but I don't think age matters anymore. The truth of the matter is that most of even the viewers and some of these companies that are in here, some of these drivers that are in here, they can tell you our YouTube subscribers are pretty much men that are between their 40s and 50s, like 45 to 55, something like that. So it's not an uncommon age. 40s and 50s is a great time to be in trucking because you don't have to worry about little children at home. When you're younger and you have a wife at home that has kids, you're going to worry about them. You're going to feel disconnected, like you're missing out on things. So if you're in your 40s and 50s and your kids are grown, it's a little bit different. And I don't have kids, so it really wasn't that hard for me to come out here. You just have to have determination. You have to have determination, and you have to be able to put up with people like Will, who's posting, show me your breasts in a non-nice way. But you know what? I've had them since I was 10 years old, so I'm used to that, please. Hi, Colorado. How you doing? Oh, Ega says driving with Riding with Dave is from CFI. Okay, I didn't know that. I watch so many different people. I'm going to be honest that sometimes I get confused with who's who. Only the lonely can't be lazy in trucking. You can be lazy in trucking. You're just not going to make any money. And like I've known drivers that all they wanted to do was drive like 1,500 miles a week. They lived on the truck, so they didn't have any other bills. They had enough money just to cover their expenses, for food and stuff, and then that was it. And you know, some people are like that, but you're not going to get any kind of good money. You're not going to get the respect of dispatch. You're not going to get the extra home time. You're not going to get the extra privileges. You know, this trucker's life, still not been to the museum. We'll be doing live stream cooking Saturday and Sunday from the Peterbilt. That's right, guys. This trucker's life does cooking on the truck videos. So if you're interested, go check them out. That's a really cool channel. Chasing America, I just saw somewhere and I lost her, but Chasing America is another really cool channel. It's a husband wife that she doesn't drive, he does, but they're kind of funny and they have some interesting topics that they talk about. How do y'all do it driving around the mountains, even in the snow and the ice? Scary stuff. Well, you do it the right way. You do it safely, and it's not so scary. When you do it slow, it's not so scary, you know? Oh my gosh, I guess I shouldn't have told everybody how old I was. Guess I shouldn't have done that. Another reason not to drive for Swift. Well, I don't want to put down other companies. I really don't. Everybody has their own idea of what's good. People have come at me and said, well, you should drive for a real company. You could be making $1,500 a week and be home every day. Okay, I could. And guess what? If I was doing that at home every day, and then I need to pay for an apartment and a car and insurance and all that. So what's the point? Oh, Dark Light. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you guys watched it. Like I said, I was a little upset. I wanted them to really talk about the things that I had to say. Like I was trying to tell them that we couldn't even. I have a tooth that I need pulled. I've been trying to get this tooth pulled since like October. Can't get it pulled. They want me to be in a particular state for 2 weeks. Who has time to do that? I'd actually have to take FMLA to take, 3, 4 weeks off from work. Derek says I would never lease unless I was able to pick my own loads. Well, Prime is doing something called a load choice that they're testing out. Not everybody has it, so you kind of sort of can pick your own loads. Um, they'll give you 3 at a time, and you can choose, and then they'll give you 3 more, and then you can do that. But it's a test thing. It's not open to everybody yet. I don't know if they're going to continue with it. It was try to give people flexibility and give what they want. Um, I'm just not interested in it. I'm not interested in it because people will say to me, well, you should go lease so you can get home more, which I would like to do because of my mother. But then you have all those added expenses, so you don't really get home more. Elite is making fun of my age with his eyeballs popping out of his head. Mad Dog says, I'm in TNT and 48. Just Trucking says, you look great for 47. Thank you. It's lots of makeup. Where do you begin to start your trucking career? I live in Texas, and you like my laugh. Well, let's see. Click on my link down below. Now, I do have a link down below that'll give you an application to Prime. But you have to find a company that's right for you because we don't do dry van. A lot of people want dry van. Um, but they also have this misconception that just because you do dry van, that it's all drop and hook, and that's not true. And I do like 50 to 60% drop and hook on one end, so I'm not sitting in the doors as much as some other people. But that just might be because I've been with the same company for 5.5 years. I've had the same fleet manager all this time. I've built up a reputation. They know that I'm going to be on time. Only the lonely says I'm 38 and I've never been kissed. Well, I'm sorry. There you go. This trucker's life is 50. See there? Like, you guys are proving my point that, the 40s and 50s, that, as a matter of fact, that was one of my most popular videos was, am I too old to go into trucking? Am I too old to start trucking? And, I know somebody who was like 68 when he started, and he came out here and he stayed out for a few years. And it was just a way for him to make up some extra money. I mean, he had a pension and everything, but something happened in his life and he needed some extra money. So he came out for a couple years. T. James says, only on the third date will I ask for breast. Well, thank you. But, I had one guy on here say to me basically the same thing. And then he says, well, I've been in 3 of your live feeds, so that counts as my third date. So give me a breast. No. Uh, Rod, yes, that's how old I am. Michelle, I'm 52 and I'm 4 months in with Prime. And Michelle, I am so proud of you. It can be scary when you're coming out here, especially, women are scared. I wasn't scared. And I don't understand that. And what I found is that the guys are so freaking supportive that, you know, you guys are so freaking supportive that men will jump out of the truck and try to help you back up. It's just so cool. And I try to tell women all the time that, you know, don't let others hold you back. And I don't care if you're a man or a woman. Don't let anybody hold you back. Tell them to go screw themselves. I mean, come on, you gotta, you know. And I don't know if I just have that naturally because that Northeast Jersey attitude. I don't know. Matthew says riding with Dave has good videos. He uses a GoPro and gives you his point of view in the videos. Yes, good point. And you know what? I was teasing Elite because he does the same thing now. And he said that he suction cupped it to his head, and I thought he was kidding, but apparently he really did. And that's one of the reasons why I love that one backing video is because as he's turning his head, you can see the mirrors and you can see exactly what he sees in the mirrors. And it's like it is a great instructional video because you can see which way he's turning the wheel and he's telling you, okay, I'm watching out for this car on my right. I'm going to stop and let this truck come around. I'm going to make sure I don't hit the pole. I thought it was great. I'm sorry. I can't brag enough about his video, and I'm sort of jealous that it's his and not mine. But is over the road demanding physically? Hey guys, why don't you put that in the comments down there and let an answer Karma is here. Is over the road demanding physically? I think that depends on the division that you're in. If you're in reefer, you're going to get less sleep. You're going to be not less sleep, but you're going to have less scheduling with your sleep. Like my friend that's at CFI who runs Drive Van, and he's a friend of Tony. He pretty much like parks like 5, 6 o'clock at night. He gets up at 3 or 4. He goes and takes a few hours to go eat and get a shower and start his day, and that's how he does it. Flatbedders, they're more on a schedule because their customers are pretty much construction workers, construction sites. So a lot of times they're off on the weekends. They're only open during the day. So I think the sleep aspect is more physically demanding. Now, if you have a local job like P&D, which is pickup and delivery, and you have to unload the trailers yourself, food service, RLC TV, He does food service, so he gets paid by the case that he unloads. Any kind of like Coca-Cola or beer distributors or anything like that, that's going to be, uh, a more physically demanding job. But I'll be honest with you, I'm fat, old, and lazy, and I'm past that. I worked in the post office for over a decade and a half, and loaded trailers and pushed up 1,500-pound containers and rolled them around. So I really have no idea. Do you know of truckers who change careers going from master's degree to truck driving? I have a very good friend who was an attorney. He was an attorney for a long time, and he is now at Prime. He is a flatbedder. He's been here, I think he just got his 6 months solo, I want to say. Um, and he's on board to make about $73,000 this year, which is actually more than he actually expected. But he's doing really well. There are lots of people that have different degrees. I mean, I have a degree in human and social services. I also have a history and political science degree. Um, I know people that were in the IT field. I know people who, were nurses. Two of my really good friends at Prime were nurses. There are a lot of people who, people for whatever reason get burnt out in an original career, and then they start over. And trucking sometimes gives people freedom, um, because you're by yourself. You don't want to talk to your boss. You turn off the phone, you turn off the little Qualcomm computer thingy, and that's it. You know. Um, but I think for me, being micromanaged was a big deal. And I'm not micromanaged. Like, I haven't talked to my fleet manager on the phone maybe 3 times in 6 months, and I don't need to. I don't need to, because if he asks me to do something, I have to trust him. And when I tell him something that I need, he trusts me. So there is no going back and forth. There is no no. I mean, I've never been told no. The worst thing he's ever said to me was, "We'll see. I'll have to look into it." But he's never actually told me no. And then sometimes I could just go, "But please." It doesn't work all the time. Sometimes I whine and cry. Uh, I enjoy watching her YouTube because it's very informative. Thank you. I don't know if that's Elite thanking me for his video, but probably. There you go. Travis has 2 undergrads and halfway through grad degree. And Travis was a company driver. He came here to Prime in July, and he now went lease. So Travis, how you doing with that lease? We want to know. I'm interested in getting into tankers, zero experience, looking for a company that helps veterans get their CDL. Well, Michael, guess what? All companies are going to help you get your CDL. If you go to a mega carrier, that's what we're doing. We're training. When it comes to Prime for veterans, instead of a year contract, it's a 9-month contract. So I think they also have different like dinners and banquets and awards and stuff they do for veterans. But because of COVID, all of our banquets have been put on hold and things like that. But they give you decals to put on your truck, and they give you patches for your jackets and things like that. But the biggie is basically you only have to do 3 months less on your contract. Uh, this trucker's life. Ego wants to know how long you've been trucking. And that's a good question for you too, Just Trucking. How long have you been trucking? If you guys don't know Just Trucking, go check him out. Hey, Clydesdale, how you doing? Jeff Wilson says, get on a dedicated. What kind of dedicated are you on? What kind of miles do you get? How do you get paid? Do you get a paid percentage by the mile? Do you get a flat rate? I want to know. Put down in the comments. Elite and Just Trucking, please behave. I appreciate it. Clydesdale says they went back to Prime, went back to 30,000 miles in TNT. What do I have to say about that? I have to say about that that if you want more miles than 30,000, then you have the option to stay on the truck with your trainer for more than 30,000. Um, do whatever you need to do for you. This is your training. So even if it comes to a point where, your trainer's like, no, I'm done, I can't train anymore, then you can swap trainers. It's not some huge, horrible thing. I've had people tell me that they think that the 30,000 is too long. I've had people tell me that they think that the 30,000 is way too short. Um, Me personally, I think I would have liked more because I really, really need the backing. My backing sucked. Everybody knows that I say that all the time. Mm. Somebody just said they like my lipstick. Yeah, thanks. Does it look shiny in this light? I put an extra gloss on because I took a picture the other day with some makeup and the shine on the light was like kind of all sexy. And I was like, wow, I look good. That looks fake. Um, Hi, John. I appreciate it. Nice to see you. You saw me on TV. I appreciate that. Oversized heavy haul loads are live loads. Oh, all oversized heavy haul loads are live loads. Yeah, but then they take cranes and move that stuff around, like all in those flatbeds and everything. Tony says that he and I have driven about the same amount of time, about 5.5 years. Jenna's here. If you guys don't know Driver Lineup, go check out Jenna and Eric over on Driver Lineup. There are a lease team. And are you guys here in Springfield? Because I'm still here. And this thing is going so fast that I can't keep up. Mad Dog's trainer is 69. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's cool. See, this is why I like the lives because I find so much out about you guys. Travis says I was a pastor prior to Prime. That explains his speaking in the videos. I'm like a leaf when the wind blows, I move on. Well, I'm going to tell you, some of that wind that I've been driving through this year seemed like just like God had some kind of a cold or pneumonia or something because it was just everywhere. uh, at Karma is here. Kiersey interviewed an old man and he told her his friend. That's not nice. Don't call an old man. But yes, his friend was still trucking at 80 years old, and they were both at CFI. So another good training company that people are really happy with, that I have friends with, and so it kind of comes down to what's good for you. What I was really looking for was someplace I could bring my cat, and not like at the time CFI would only let you bring a dog, not a cat. I think they might let you now, or maybe they didn't bring pets, but I specifically had to go looking for cats and most companies didn't allow them. So there's only couple drivers, they only want good paying loads. Driver lineup, there's Eric. So guys, go click on driver lineup. They're at Prime, they're a lease, they're a team, and they are funny. And they have a beautiful dog that is so sweet, and I just wish I could just like wrap my arms around her and hug her. But I was a legislative aide and I'm in trucking school now. See, Jared, I mean, like, people come from all walks of life, and it's really interesting to see all the different people. I mean, most people think it's crazy that when I tell them not only was I a postal worker, but I wrote novels. I published articles online. I did it as a side job just because it was my hobby. It wasn't so much of a money thing, but it was more of a hobby. A sunset chaser says, had an accident, so I have to wait till that falls off my record. Ooh, how bad was the accident? G-Track Beat, hey, how you doing? Thanks for popping in. Karma is here. Yeah, I can't unload a truck. Well, honest to God, like the only thing you unload at Prime, in 5 years, I did 2 pallets, and like the one pallet had 9 pieces on it. Like literally, I could have just kicked it off the truck. And we do have what they call floral loads where you have to unload the individual boxes, but I've never done them. And they've told me, oh, well, as a company driver, you're going to have to do. No, no, no. Because all I have to do is say, I'm not going to train anymore. If you give me those loads, I'm not going to train. And then guess what? I don't get those loads. Ega says, I've watched your videos talking about how short you are and where you were driving in the Peterbilt. Oh, yeah, because the Peterbilt's mirrors were so low. And like, I'm trying to pull myself up like this and like to see over the hood. It was terrible. And then my foot was off the pedal. So when I would hit a bump, it would come up and go down and up and down. And so the truck is going, Yeah. Well, I don't have many degrees. It's technically 2 degrees. One is human and social services, and the other one is history and political science. So it's two. But I actually worked through the post office and got the degrees while I was working. So it took me a long time. Long Haul Gypsy. There you go, guys. There's another one. Go check Long Haul Gypsy out. She is in training right now with another prime driver who is Million Mile Man, who I absolutely adore. This guy is so sweet and so nice. But anybody that has questions about training and what it's like, it's good to find people like Long Haul Gypsy. The problem is, though, and anybody that's looking into trucking has to understand this. You can go to the same company, have the same fleet manager, even have the same trainer as your friend, and have completely different experiences. And this is why it's really hard to be somebody like me that hears people and they come in, they're like, well, I didn't learn about this and I didn't learn about that. And it's because, well, maybe you didn't have a claim. You know, we only retain 10% of what we're taught and what we're told. And so, maybe Long Haul Gypsy over there, she had a claim and she remembers it, and you had a claim and you don't remember it. Is that your trainer's fault? No. Is it trucking's fault? No. Is your company's fault? No. It's just a circumstances. And you got to understand you're not going to learn everything in training. You're just not. You're going to learn your entire first year is going to just feel like, this huge learning curve. And, that's just the way it goes. It's going to feel like this huge learning curve. So, hey, Eric, where are you guys? Are you guys still here? Because I'm over at Oasis. And I invited a couple people to come meet me down at Fire and Ice. I got a gift card. So we can get something. But I am going to be on a Lockout Men podcast tonight. So check that out probably around 7 or 8 because he's a driver also. So we're going to have to wait for him to park. So T. James says, chef for 30 years, time to change. See, there you go, Ega. There's another person. Karma was in education for years. Yes, there are nurses. There are retired military people. One of the drivers here was a retired Air Force captain or something that, seemed like a high rank to me. I don't know anything about military like that, but G-Track Speed, I unload Dollar General, and I've been doing it a year and a half. Now, that's supposed to be a hard account. I give you props, dude, because that's a hard account. Mad Dog, I spent 12 years running underwater robots offshore. I'm now in trucking. I got tired of the ups and downs of the oil field. You know what? I had a friend that was he was a diver, and that's what he did. He used to go down and fix the rigs on the offshore drilling, and now he's been at Prime for like 5 years. He came right after me. Michelle, I run reefer at Prime. The most physical part is pre-trip inspection, the drop and hooks. Most of our freight is no touch, securing the load locks, climbing in the back of the trailer. Travis says, I'm enjoying the work and reward of leasing. One of the best things about Prime is the many opportunities we have for the song of the heart, driver's heart. You know, and that's true too. Like when you wind up going to a company that has different divisions, you have choices. Like if you went to a company that they just do flatbed and you get tired or burnt out the flatbed, you don't have a choice of you have to leave that company. But when you have a company like Prime or Swift or any of those others that have multiple divisions, like we have tanker, we have reefer, we have intermodal, we have flatbed. So if you decided, hey, you know what? I'm tired of flatbed, then you could go to reefer or tanker. Um, and it used to be that you'd have to go on a truck with a trainer for 30 days. And just yesterday, they were telling us that they're doing a boot camp now. So you get the classes that you need to learn how to hook up the hoses and do the tarps and the strapping and everything in like a week boot camp so that you wouldn't have to go out with a trainer over the road like that. Do these companies that load you, if they do a good job securing the load in the trailer? Um, well, all of my customers do load us, and my loads are all on pallets and they don't really secure it. We have these locks, that these bars there, and they lock in place that stretch across, so we put them in ourselves. A lot of drive-ins have these straps that hook into the walls, and then you kind of like, it's like a ratchet and it secures it that way. There are different ways to secure the loads. If you're talking flatbed, there are rules to it with chains and ropes and different kinds of well, no, I guess not ropes, but straps or whatever. I'm not a tarping person, a flatbedder, but some products have to be tarped so that to protect them from the elements and the rain and stuff. So Just Trucking has been driving for 3 years. Good for you. See, I keep having to scroll back up. Sorry, guys. Travis, where are you at today? Long haul says don't knock short girls. Hey, no. Somebody just posted in one of the groups. What do you do to get in the back of the trailer? You know, it might sound stupid, but there's a way to actually you close the left door and you kind of like use this grip the door handle and kind of put your feet up, but it's really small and I have big feet like size 11, like Jahunga size feet. And I had them even when I was a baby. Like when I came out, my foot was like this big. And I had my pregnant mother I have pictures of my mother with my foot imprint from where I was kicking her inside the womb. And she said she was so happy to get me out of her because like my big feet were terrible. Poor woman was bruised. No wonder she wants to drive me nuts now. She thinks it's her right because I tortured her. But so this trucker's life is on salary. I never worry about time or miles. Well, see, and that's what you know, that's how cool trucking is. You can find a job that pays the way you want, that is scheduled the way you want. If you want that local job and you want Monday through Friday, then you could go do a particular job. If you want to drive nights, let's say, you could do line haul, which is often at night, so you could do that job. So there are ways to get positions that you want that work for you. um, when will trucks equip the tractor with backup cameras? I have no clue. But you know what's really interesting? People are really concerned about that. I didn't realize when I first got into trucking, I was terrified because you feel like you can't see anything. When you learn to use the mirrors, you don't have any blind spots except for directly behind you. if you're going down the highway. And one crazy thing is I had a beautiful Mustang GT that I ordered. This sucker cost me $55,000, honest, and I loved it. And anybody who knows me knows that this was my dream car. I ordered it. I planned on keeping it for 20 years. And after I got used to driving the truck, when I would go home, I felt like I couldn't see anything. You see out the back window and you got this much room out the back window. The mirrors didn't all of a sudden have blind spots. If you use your mirrors properly, we have two up top and then two below and then two on the hood. If you use them properly, you can pretty much see everything. And because you're so high up, you see so far ahead of you that you feel like you have a lot of knowledge. It's really what it is. And Maureen was laughing at me because um, she said to me, "Oh, there's a train up ahead at this intersection." And I said, "Yeah, but I was trying to figure out if I wanted to make a right here. There's a sleeper cab coming out, but the road sign has a winding street, so I don't always trust the sleeper cabs. They might not know where they are. Is that even a truck road? I don't know." Then a day cab came flying around, and I said, "Well, he's probably going someplace he knows because he's local. So I'm going to assume I can go follow him." So I turned and she looked at me and goes, "Whoa, that's a lot of information that you just processed in like 2 split seconds." But it comes down to observe, observe, observe. I do it all day. And I think that's what makes, you know, um, when you realize that it's not so scary after a while. You'll be at Prime tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know when I'm leaving because Maureen has my truck. I came in for the driver advisory board meeting, which, if those of you don't know, we have a board that this sits down with management and goes over things that we can improve at Prime and, gives out announcements and things like that. Um, yeah, Eric says Travis was a man of cloth. I did not know that. That's really cool. Mad Dog's from Louisiana. Not being in Springfield till March 8th. Bryson, how you doing? Oh, you just passed by. Oh, I'm sorry. I've been here for a couple days, but I've been meetings and stuff like that, and I just now had time to like sit down and relax. Uh, Long haul gypsy should be coming into Springfield very soon. I'm guessing to upgrade. How many miles you got now? Because now you're going to be eligible to upgrade, right? They said it's going to take about 2 to 3 weeks to get everybody routed in and get them all in trucks. So if you're already out there, guys, you will be getting notified from operations. I'm an owner op leased on the Prime, dedicated. Me and my wife love it. Oh, that's cool. So are you like a dedicated company or a dedicated region? Like I know Flatbed has a dedicated Texas area that they're on. I don't know, but and I think they're owner ops down there and lease ops down there, but like there are a bunch of dedicateds that we have that are company driver onlys. Yes, Remy is a nice, beautiful German Shepherd. This trucker's life says don't let the company train you, you train you. Always practice backing and parking, be focused. This is true. You're going to wind up, you know, practicing that backing no matter what. It's going to take you a long time. I'm going to be honest with you. In a year and a half, I still didn't feel confident backing until I took my first TNT student, which was my friend. And at that point, I was like, wow, I'm a lot better than I thought I was. And when I got to about 2 years, 2.5 years, I was like, whoa, I'm really good. I was a stockbroker. See, this is amazing when people see that what you were, you know, and it's like, okay, we just get burnt out. A trucker is never just a trucker. But it's the same thing for a register person. If you see a waitress, that's probably not just a waitress. I hate that idea that, you're locked into something because, I just did an interview for a magazine today that they asked me like, well, because I was donating the money from the YouTube channel, and they asked me, well, why would you do that? I was like, because I've always done that. And they said, what do you mean? I was like, well, I have always been involved in community service, even from the time I was in high school. And so, it's just part of who I am. If everybody did a little bit every day or every week or every month, then the world would be a better place, which is why I like Jenna and Erica Driver Lineup and Travis and the OTRcrew.com gang. If you guys don't know that and you're Prime, then go check them out because we are a group that I was newly inducted. Yay, thank you guys. That one of the things that they want to do is not only promote each other and to create support with prime drivers, but also for us to support our in-house personnel. I think that it doesn't matter what company you went to, that you drive for, or you get trained by, or whatever. Through COVID, you know, the people at dispatch, the people in our road assist departments, doesn't matter what company, they're mostly at home right now. And they're dealing with their kids in the background, their dogs, and they have a bunch of distractions, and they're trying to deal with all this crap from home that it's just got to be nerve-wracking for them too. You get cabin fever. So Jenna called me combative with a smile. That's actually in my driver profile. Karma was an elementary school teacher for years, now thinking about trucking. Well, come on out. Hey, Lola's Adventures, how you doing? Yeah, so Gypsy and Jenna are short too. Yeah, but I'm short and fat. I got to start losing weight again. I did really good last year. I lost like 60 pounds last year. And then when I start teaming again, it went to heck. So I'm like, I gained most of it back. And I'm like, I got to start again. So I figure when Prime decides to like go and, Prime, oh gosh, when Maureen decides to, go on her own truck, I'm going to try to start working out. And when I'm driving solo, it's so much easier when you're solo than when you're teaming. And I know they say, oh yes, you can do it when you're teaming. Of course you can do it, but that doesn't mean I want to do it. I'm not motivated, I admit it. We have a few former deputy sheriffs. Hmm. See, history and political science. See, you learned so much in these lives. I didn't know that. So do I. My favorite part of history is the Russian history, monarchical histories, that kind of thing. The Romanovs, amazing. Like you could totally write movie after movie just based on a lot of these royal families and stuff. I retire in 2023. Be training somewhere. I'm in education too. There are so many people in trucking who are like me. Ego says, well, yeah. I mean, you know what? It's funny because I did a video where a woman asked me, what are men like out on the road? This question boggles my mind. I'm like, what? They're different from the people at home? The men at home are the ones that are out on the road. The people that you're sitting here saying, oh, well, there's so many people like me in trucking. Well, there's people like you at home too, right? So, of course, they're going to be in trucking too. I mean, even at the post office, we had people that had degrees from Harvard and University of Pennsylvania, and you change professions because you get burnt out. How long should it take to get used to driving a lot of miles if you've never run that many miles a day? You know, um, that's going to really depend on every single person. That's the truth. And um, if you explain that to your trainer, hey, I'm worried about the stamina issues, then they're going to start you off a little bit of time, and you just build it up. You just build it up, and if you start to get a little tired, and I'm not talking exhausted that you're going to pass out, but I'm talking, stop every couple hours, get out of the truck, walk around, it wakes you up, get some coffee, but just moving, even chewing bubble gum, just the oh, I'm going to get so many I'm going to get so many messages about that one. All you guys are going to be like, "Yo, I want to see you chew gum again." Hi, handsome. How you doing today? Skeletor, good to see you. Yeah, I know. I haven't done a live in a long time. Like, you guys are like really flying through the comments. I have to go all the way back up. Sorry. Tasha says that she was watching Travis's clock videos, then she saw me live. All right, well, thank you. I appreciate you popping in here. But if people are looking for videos on, the 70-hour clock, the hours of service, yes, Travis has a great set of videos over there. If I live in Texas, will my training be at Prime? At Prime, we pretty much do training over the road. So you probably come to orientation at Springfield, and then that'll be like a week, and then you go over the road with a trainer while you have your permit, and he sits in the seat next to you, and that's basically what it is. You run the truck solo until you test out. Mustang GTs are not an ideal car to be driving around because they have lots of power. You can't test in the city. Well, guess what? I had Mustangs for like 15 years. I love them. I don't care. Nobody's going to talk me out of. White Line Trucking says, I'm only here for the great advice. Well, I want you here because you're so sweet and wonderful, and I love it when you like scream and yell into the camera. You're funny. I hope you're having a better day today. How short is short in height? Well, I'm 5'4". I'll be a mother trucker. There's another one. That's another prime driver that's in training. I'm coming in on the 12th, most likely to upgrade. Good for you. Everybody's excited that they're going to be getting their trucks. Slim Shady. Now, Slim Shady's been with me since the beginning of my channel. So, woohoo. Thank you. Yeah, I don't want to be in Southern Cal either. 10 count. Is Prime going from household goods to actual miles someday? I have no idea. I have no idea. Sorry, can't help you with that one. Jeffro. The smaller is the harder to back up. I used to have a 16 box, backed up easily. Spoiled brat for life. Someone called me Kearsey once in this guy trucks video. I'm a trucker wife, not a trucker, but I wanted to see who you were. Okay. Someone called me Kearsey once in this guy's truck video. Okay. I'm not sure why. I'm not a spoiled brat. Well, I guess maybe I can be a spoiled brat. Maybe. I don't know. So, yeah, I guess if I can pout and whine and get what I want, I don't know. But hi, spoiled. I guess thanks for coming in. Torched, how you been? Haven't seen you in a while. Tony says the right company is the one where the person fits in well. A good, safe, hardworking driver will succeed no matter what. That's the truth. I saw a post from someone from Prime that they are leasing day cabs for intermodal. Interesting. Probably intermodal pretty much is local. Intermodal runs out of the rail yards, for those of you who don't know, so it wouldn't shock me. And the lease is probably cheaper, so you probably make more money. I do know that when at least I trained in intermodal for 2 weeks, and they did not get a percentage of the load like most of Prime lease ops do. They would get a flat rate per mile, so I could see them doing that. Tony Iga, retired from USPS, a job I hated, came here. I love over-the-road trucking. Yes, I was a mail handler at a 24-hour processing center in the post office, so I concur with that. It sucked. I even wrote a book about it, but the book is really funny. It's all about the crazy, wild things that happen there. Accident on 215 closed it down. We're stoked to have you in the OTR. Yeah. Um, yeah, the OTR crew. Woohoo! I'd like us to get it together though. Like I said, I'm gonna I don't even know what time it is. What time is it, guys? It's 5:21. My my clock on here doesn't work. My phone is set to Eastern time. There is a trucker gang. Is it similar to a bikers? No, it's not similar to a bikers. It's called OTR Crew, and you could go check out OTR crew.com. And it's pretty much, prime drivers that want to support each other, and we got each other's backs. And there is a driverlineup.com that Eric from Driver Lineup set up. Uh-oh. Okay, let's see. All of a sudden, I lost my camera. Oh, it's back. All right. I hope you guys are still there. Um, I'll be a mother trucker. She says I'm fat and tall. For those of you guys that don't know her, she owned a horse and carriage business in Oklahoma before she became a trucker. And she did this video where she was basically saying that, it came down to after COVID hit and everything was shut down, it was have the horses starve or sell the business. And to me, that has to be heartbreaking. I can't even imagine. So Tony says now Tony's drive-in over at CFI. I pretty much wake up at 5 a.m., shower and eat, start my pre-trip at 6, and I'm over the road. See, so different companies, different divisions are going to be different, you know. Tasha says I need to start exercising and eating better. When I originally started this channel, I had this goal that I was going to lose 80 pounds, and had this diet set up. I even planned a workout video, but I wanted to be smaller because, these and my butt jumping around the screen, I wanted to make sure that there wasn't any flab on there. 10 count. I'm from Swedesboro. Nazi Germany is my specialty. 10 count. Are you Edwin? Because I don't live far from Swedesboro. Ega says Roman Empire's the favorite in history. Jared says political science. I I always loved political science. I am such a witch, and I was always one of those people that I just went and did anything I wanted. Like even at 15, 16, it really didn't it didn't phase me to do things. Like if I wanted to do something, I did it. So I was the school paper editor, and I decided I wanted to interview my governor who was running for election. Right? And I walked right into the Democratic Party campaign headquarters. His name was, oh, geez, who was it? Florio. Jim Florio, that's who it was at the time. And I walked right up to this guy and I just started asking him questions. And this man sat there and talked to me for an hour. And what was really funny was there were no other reporters there or cameramen or anything. And the U.S. Senator Frank Lautenberg, said to the governor, "Who is that? What paper are they from?" And he said, "Well, it's a high school paper, but I'll take any publicity I could get." And it was really cool. And he sat there and took pictures with me and everything. And, it's funny because my mother, she was like, "You're just not intimidated." And I just refuse to be intimidated. Nobody else is paying my bills but me. Ega, the 8-2 split is still confusing. Forget about the 8-2 split until you actually get out on the road and you understand the hours of service. Like, you just gotta understand it. You can't understand it until you're actually out here. So don't bother. It's just going to confuse you. I hated English until I had to go to summer school for it. Ms. Armstrong got my attention after I dropped the F bomb. I learned a lot. You know what? In 10th grade, I had an English teacher named Mr. Walensky. Did anybody ever read or see 12 Angry Men? It's about a trial of an 18-year-old boy. He's on trial for killing his father, stabbing him. And I think it's in Chicago, and he's poor, he's Puerto Rican, and all these you don't see the trial, you just see the discussion in the jury room. And the whole movie is the discussion of the jury room. Well, Mr. Walensky was having us read this play, and he pulls out a knife, and he had this a wood block attached to the end, but he was pretending to be the guy that was stabbing the father, and he's stabbing the desk like this. We're all like, what the hell? Like, that got our attention, and it was really funny. And he did the same thing when we read Julius Caesar, and who wants to read Shakespeare? It's just incomprehensible for the most part. At least when you're 15, you don't care. But I'm going to tell you, Mr. Walensky, I'll never forget that English teacher. Hey, I have a great video on splits too. I had this formula. The only thing is, well, if you can still hear me, I don't know why my camera keeps going in and out. But the thing with the splits is that, like, now that they changed it to include the 7-3, I'm trying to get this restarted. I don't know why it keeps going out. But now that includes the 7-3, it's still the same formula for in between your drive time. So whatever you drove in between the two breaks, subtract that from 11, and that's the drive time you have left over. Trucker John, good to see you. Emperor, you look like you own a fireplace. Okay. Not sure what that means. I hope that doesn't mean I look like Santa Claus or Mrs. Claus or something. Like chimney fireplace. Stuck in traffic on I-26 in South Carolina. Ew, I hate traffic. That's one of the great things about driving night shift. You don't have to deal with that. Trucker John, how have you been? For you guys that don't know, Trucker John is he's a newly upgraded uh prime driver also. How long you been out there now? A few months, couple months at least, right? I'm just making sure you know it's Christian. Oh. Interested in owner-op intermodal freight. Can you text me that guy info for the intermodal guy? Okay, I have to look into that. Don't be going postal on us, young lady. Yes. Well, and Christian, no, I didn't realize that was you. Uh, I recognize the name though. Um, Barry, that was one of my books, was the post office. It was really funny and interesting, and I included things that people don't think about. Just like we don't think about trucking and what truckers go through, we don't think about what the postal workers go through. And we had a human head come through the mail. We had alligators that got loose. We got all kinds of things that you just don't even think about. So, Ega, it's really hard to sit there and try to do the time on the clock when, it's really hard. You have to see it in action. It's hard to explain it. It's hard to edit it. It's just, until you're actually driving and see it, it's hard. Yeah, go watch, what do you call it? Go watch Travis. Travis's stuff is good. Hey, Jason, how you doing? Yeah, somebody in here just said that he loved Nazi Germany history. Um, I wrote a book about Nazi Germany. It was kind of cool. Loosely based on my family because um, I had a great uncle that was like brought into the Hitler youth camps, and he wound up going into the Nazi army. But they had a sister who um, was getting people out of Germany, and she was using the Catholic Church to smuggle people out of Germany, which is really cool. And she saved a lot of people. And then the brother found out, and it turns out to like, well, what does the brother do? Does he kill the sister and everybody else, or does he protect her? Does he save her? What? And I was like, wow, that would really be good. Um, that would be a really cool spy novel. So that's what I did. I turned it into a spy novel. I put a twist, but the end is what really happened in real life. So if you guys are interested in that, check out my links below because I do have my. Um, it's in a different name. It's not my real name. Maybe one of these days I'll turn over the books into my real name. And Jared says, no matter the industry, you have to act like a starving artist, and people will pick up on your determination. Yes, probably. That makes sense. Fireplaces are awesome. Okay, thanks, Emperor. I have a very cute laugh. I have been called Giggle Monster. I don't know why this isn't working. Can you guys explain to me why my camera keeps dying? It's never done this before, and it figures tonight's the night that I'm going to go on Lockout Men podcast. It's about time, and the light is flickering and looks like I'm in front of a fireplace. Okay, didn't understand that before, and it doesn't look like it's flickering on my end. Tasha, if you click down below, okay, there is an Amazon link for my books. The name is Rhoda Detour on Amazon. One of my books is really cool. It's about the last book. Let's put it that way. The last book is a really cool book that Chief Brody over there, he read it. That's my friend Rob. He's the lawyer flatbedder that somebody asked me earlier, Rob, if I knew anybody that had a degree, and I just start naming people off, and there you go. Uh, but anyway, it's a serial killer book basically about the Zodiac killer, and he comes out in the hiding because somebody finds evidence that he's afraid is going to point them in the direction of his real identity. So that's the one that I really like the most, that I'm really proud of. Super Mario Brothers, how you doing? I've read your message, but everything's scrolling so fast that I have to keep scrolling back up to go see it. The data signal in the Oasis sucks. Yeah, but I'm not even using their data. I'm using my hotspot, my Verizon, so it shouldn't be doing that. And I don't think it's that. I think it has something to do with the camera, and I don't know why. But and Neo's still here because it was made in China. Well, unfortunately, most of us. Time to buy a new laptop. Actually, Ika, this is a fairly new laptop. Um, I do have one of those, what is it, like Logitech cameras or something on the truck, but it's not as good of a camera, and I don't like it. And I, the other camera that I use, because I'm using the laptop and I don't use my phone. Um, when I use the phone or the tablet, it seems like I can't see the messages. It's really hard for me to see the messages. So I'd rather do it on the laptop. And I don't think I can hook up my Canon. I have a Canon, um, like a DSLR, a Rebel T7i. I don't think I can hook up the Canon to the laptop and run that with the lives. It would be cool if I could. Maybe I could figure it out. Oh, okay. The Verizon's been wonky. Hi, Julia. How you doing? Farouk wants to know, do I believe that we're not alone in this universe? Your camera has the Rona. I love this. Have any of us used the tire socks on your trucks instead of chains? No, but I've never chained either. They're just on the truck. I have no intention of chaining. There was one day that Maureen and I almost chained. I did a video about that, and then the guy came by. The plow truck was like, "No, they got rid of the alert." So we're like, "Yay!" So but do I believe we're alone in this universe? I'm gonna say no. I mean, I think it's egotistical of us to think that we're it and that's it. I mean, especially when you think about all the different organisms that are on this planet. Who's to say that there has to be organisms on other planets? Do I think that there are humans out there or something equivalent to humans? Who knows? I have no idea. I'm not going to sit there and try to debate stuff and figure stuff out. I'm a freaking tractor trailer driver trainer trying not to get killed out here on the road. So, um, I wonder, it keeps saying that it's my browser that's disconnecting. I wonder if it's because I'm using the StreamYard. I was planning on bringing one of you guys in. I'll be a mother trucker says that they used the tire socks. They were awesome. They only took a couple minutes to put on. Yeah, one of the things about the tire socks though is that um, if you go too fast or you go drive with them too long or you don't take them off as soon as possible, then they tear. And they're also still being tested for their longevity. So you buy these things, they're like $600-700 and get the bungees and everything, and then you might only be able to use them a few times. um, I have no intention of ever chaining or using those auto socks, just not happening. Yeah, you read Mon Kampf. I never actually read it, but all right, so that's a question for you guys. Do you think we're alone in the universe, and do you think there's truckers out there? That would be funny. You see, like, some little green guy driving around in the truck. This is my first time talking to someone live, and it is so cool. Well, thank you. I appreciate you, Farouk. I'm glad that you are enjoying it. If you look into any genocide, they use the same tried and true playbook. Yep. Um, so Farouk says nope. But Farouk, are you Buddhist? Do you believe in reincarnation? Because that looks like Bud Hu, which in my head popped in as Buddha, which, equates to, you know, reincarnation. There's truckers on Mars. That's right. Hopefully they have chocolate with M&Ms and M's and Mars bars and candy and all kinds of stuff. Do you prefer running on recaps or a 34-hour reset? I'll be honest with you, I'd rather have my reset. I don't like running on recaps. I want a full 11-hour clock so that I can run as hard as I need to. Um, so I'd rather have a 34. Now, when you're new, they try not to give you 34s, and it's just because they want you to learn how to manage your clock better, and it's more like a training issue. After a while, you do what you want. Yep, if it's too bad to drive without chains, I park. Yes. There was one time though, I was supposed to be ahead of the storm. Like I said, I did this video on it, and I was supposed to be ahead of the storm, and somehow I got like on cabbage and it was fast. It was there faster than we were supposed to be. So it was here. Farouk says, "Yep, they believe in reincarnation." My mother is terrified of cats, and we went to a psychic one time who told her that that she was a mouse in a former life, and that's why she's terrified of cats. Aliens exist to me. I know we're in trouble the day the government has to tell us. Oh, Gary, mwah, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for all your valuable knowledge and videos. I appreciate that. It does take a lot of time, and that's why sometimes, like, I was trying to explain to somebody, sometimes what I do is I film when I'm sitting here at the hotels. So I'll film 4 or 5 videos and then I'll post them up over time. And when I do that, a lot of people just think I'm always in a hotel, but it's really that I had the time. Linda, yes, I'm hoping there's a planet nearby with a bunch of dinosaurs. I'd also be intrigued with a planet of purple beings. Never thought about that. Different colors. Dinosaurs I'd be cool with as long as I can see them and look at them and appreciate them and not have to be eaten by them. Like, I don't want to be running. Although maybe that's a way I could lose weight. I'd be like running from from the dinosaurs. I wonder how much weight I could lose then. Oh. Hi, Brown Bags. New sub here. I want to ask a few questions regarding Prime. Down below, there are links. I'll post my. It's trucking along fun at Gmail. I just put it in there. I do answer all of my comments and my emails as soon as I can. Understand that I do team drive, so I can't always get to them right away, but I do try. And if I ignore you, then it's probably because maybe I didn't get it. YouTube's really weird with notifications. I don't always get them. So, hit me up again. You're not going to bother me. I was told by Vietnam vets. Hold on, now I gotta go back up. Clydesdale says he's an atheist. It's all nonsense to me. Night Ranger. Actually, Night Ranger was wasn't that a band, a rock band back in the 80s? But not with a K. That's right. It was an N, right? Vietnam vets told me if you rub Buddha's stomach, it brings you luck. Yes, it's supposed to. I've already picked your brain a little about YouTube. I'm sure I'll ask more. Okay, no problem. Oh, Farouk would protect me from the dinosaur. Yeah, but with my luck, you'd get eaten by a dinosaur and then get reincarnated as a mouse and wouldn't be able to protect me. So I appreciate that. uh, the Nazis learned genocide by the Serbians. I don't know. I don't know about that. If you see me running, you better run too, because something's after me. That's right. Like, this is fun. So, brown bags, what are your questions about Prime? We might as well discuss them in here if you feel comfortable. Payable on death. How are you? They sang Sister Christian. Oh, yeah. That's who it was. Sister Christian, know the time has come. Yeah, I promise I won't sing anymore. I wonder, I don't know how to add song stuff. I got the cheap version of StreamYard that I was going to, see if anybody wanted to come in here. But, most trucking videos are cool. I see that Happiness by the Mile has a lot of subs. What do you think of her videos? I've been asked that before, and I try to stay neutral because no matter what I say, I'm either going to come across as hateful and jealous or like a butt kisser. Like, Elite and I have become friends, and I was posting on his channel, and then somebody said to him, "You better watch it because she's a YouTube gold digger." And I'm like, "What the hell is that?" I remind you of Dolly Parton. Well, good. I'm glad. I appreciate that. I'll take Dolly Parton any day. Woman's beautiful, and I was thinking about going and getting some plastic surgery because it did well for her, right? Mm. Um, but I've gotten called Dolly my whole life. And when I was a lot younger and a lot thinner, I used to look like Marilyn Monroe. So the people in the post office, this is actually a funny story. There was a a Filipino man at the post office who couldn't pronounce my name. So he said, "Oh my God, you look like Marilyn effing Monroe. If I make love to you, I die. You'd kill me because I'm so old, but at least I die a happy man." And it was like hysterical. So believe it or not, I worked there for 15 years, and all the Filipinos wound up calling me Marilyn. To this day, they think my name is Marilyn. Go figure. As a trucker, can you bring your family or friend on a run with you? Absolutely. Yes. You can also have pets on the truck. You have to find a company that allows that. At Prime, where I am, we do allow cats and dogs, and you are allowed family members, but each company will limit the number of family members you can bring. A lot of companies will say you have a 3 heartbeat rule. So you might be able to bring, say, a husband and a child, but then you can't have a pet. You might be able to have, your husband and then a pet, but then you can't have a child. So you have to look for a company that is going to suit your needs. To make sure you ask, they call it a rider policy. So ask about a rider or a passenger policy, and then also if you were interested in pets. Um, and they're not going to limit it. You usually have to sign a paper for insurance reasons. Um, You have to sign a for insurance reasons and explain, how you're related, and you just put friend or whatever. Is there parking at the terminal in Springfield? Was thinking of using my personal car for orientation, but recruiter has offered a rental. Personally, I wouldn't bring your car to Springfield. Don't bring your car to the terminal. And the reason being is you're only going to be here a few days, and Prime has shuttles. So anything that where we are in Springfield is like right by there's Walmart here, there's different restaurants here. Things that you really want to be around are all within either walking distance or a shuttle ride. Um, because what's going to happen is you're only going to be here for a few days, and then you get in a truck with a trainer and you leave with your permit, and then you don't come back. So you get thrown right into the trucking lifestyle. So there's no point to have a car here that you're never going to be here. And it's just going to take up space. And honestly, it's going to take up room from people who might live here or need that space. Jared says, I'm signed on to Warner. Do you think Prime would be an upgrade and experience with an employer? I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I have a friend who came to Prime. He did not go all the way through training. He went to Werner, and he's there now, and his intention is to come back. And the reason was quote unquote, Prime is the best out there. And that's his rendition of Prime versus Werner. Now, the flip side of that is he's also in a regional account where he's getting home on the weekends. You probably won't be able to do that unless you're regional at Prime. So, you have to decide what's good for you. I know that there are friends of mine that were at Werner, that say that they sit a lot. I don't ever have that. Iga says, "Oh, yikes, all Filipinos work at the post office." I didn't say that all Filipinos work at the post office, but there were a lot of Filipino workers at the post office, and a lot of them would join the Navy, and then once they became citizens, then they'd move to the U.S. And so we did have a high population of Filipinos at the post office. I still look like Marilyn Monroe. Woohoo! Yay! Thank you. Mwah, you get a kiss for that. If I lose weight, I'll really look like it. John the trucker's Filipino. Had no idea. um, Al, hi. Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good evening. Okay. I'll be a mother trucker says she's going to be chasing me to the surgery table. Let me tell you something. When my dog got sick, and this dog, she was like my kid. I swear, I love this dog. Right? I had this fund, and I was going to get my stomach, my tummy tuck, and my thighs sucked, and my hips sucked, and breast reduction, and all that stuff. And yes, I said breast reduction, guys, but the dog got sick, and I spent so much money on her. It cost me like $8,000 or $9,000 that I kept yelling at her and saying, "You just cost me my hips. You just cost me my stomach." Brown bags. I've had my CDL with all endorsements except passenger, hazmat, tanker, and doubles. My girlfriend's a trainer at Prime, but I'm leery about coming due to what I hear is a 1-year contract. Okay, it's a 1-year contract. What's the problem? I'm going to tell you. The year goes by so fast, and 30,000 miles, you're still going to be training for a couple months. It's not a big deal. It really isn't. I mean, my intention was to come here and stay a year and then go home and go local, and I just haven't left. The company is just so good that I just haven't left. So what's Prime's rider policy about kids and spouses? Well, spouses can come on the truck. The kids, there is an age limit. So I don't know if Jenna and driver lineup are in here. There any lease people that are still in here? Because the rules are different for lease than for company drivers. I believe under 10 cannot come on a company truck. I could be wrong. I'm not going to say that I am right. That would be something you ask a recruiter, or if you want to hit me up in an email, I'll make sure that I contact somebody at Prime and find out for you. My thing, and I'm not going to, all you guys that watch me for a while, you all know I do not agree with somebody going out leasing for at least 6 months to a year. There's too much to learn, and I think that it's ridiculous to try to have to learn how to drive the truck and be a trucker and then learn the business side of it too. There's just too many things that can go wrong. There's too many things that you can screw up to put yourself into tens of thousands of dollars of debt in, and people just don't consider that. They think, all right, I'm going to sign this lease contract and I'm going to make $1 million. It's not going to work like that. It just doesn't work like that. And I'm really big on everybody having the information that they need to make it, an informed decision. I don't care what company you go to. I don't care what lease you get. I don't care what, what truck you're buying. Just whatever you're doing, even if you were going to go to a college, make sure that you have as much information as about the college or the university that you're looking into. Do I have a new international? My international is a 2020. The 2019s are already being sold. I am the first driver of this, so the truck was new when I got it. They will probably have me turn it in about another year. So that's what they do. Like this time of year, the 2019s are already getting sold. The 2022s are already coming in. Brown bags. I retired from the IRS. Came out of retirement to lose my husband, and my daughters are grown. I've had my CDL since 2019. Oh, I'm sorry about your husband. I'm sorry, the IRS. Yeah, well, I get that. We had a lot of people that came from the IRS to the post office. Linda says, I've been watching you for a long time. Wait, I just missed her again. Get a bypass surgery or do what Captain Banana is doing? I don't know. What's Captain Banana doing? I have no idea. What's he doing? Vaping? Is he vaping and not eating anymore? Oh, see, now there you go. That's Michaela. I'll be a mother trucker. She's going to text me about surgeons. Farouk says that listening to me made his day better and no joke, and I have a magical voice. Well, that's funny because people usually tell me, I've had people tell me that it sounds like a dying cat, that I sound like a little kid. Um, you know, renting I heard is better. Hey Hans, how you doing, sweetie? We had a lot of mechanical problems that came out of our pocket immediately after the signing the lease. It's been tough. We're stuck in Springfield for an extra 3 weeks. Yep, and that's the kind of thing that happens. And if you have to be prepared for it. Another really big thing that people aren't prepared for are the kinds of things that can go wrong when you're new. You're you're more likely to make mistakes. I know somebody who wound up putting DEF in his diesel tank, and it cost like $7,000 or $8,000, $9,000, something like that. That's something that a rookie does. That's not something an experienced driver does. So because he was leased, he didn't get a paycheck for like 2 or 3 months. You know, Another thing was somebody set the reefer on the wrong temperature and froze the meat. Well, that's $50,000, $60,000 load. The company doesn't pay for that. It's the lease op that pays for that. The cargo insurance is not covered. It's not covering that. It doesn't cover your mistakes. It only covers accidents. So if you have a hard brake event, that's another thing. You didn't secure the load properly and you have a hard brake, or you take a curve too fast, then you're responsible as that lease op. So you have to understand what your problem, what your liabilities are. You have to understand that. Now, you're saying that your truck's in the shop. There's a thing in the contract saying that you can get a loaner truck, but it also says based on availability. So I don't know, in that situation, if you would have been told, well, they're selling the old trucks right now, we don't have any available, that kind of thing. Leasing for prime sells well and sounds well until you mention that someone had their load rejected and the cost was $50,000. Did you get that? Yes, that's happened several times, but it's usually the driver's fault. And here's what people don't get. You make a lot of mistakes when you're brand new. And that's why I say make sure, that you know what you're doing. Ooh, look at this. That's my alarm. Make sure you know what you're doing. Oh, it took you a while to get there. I never met a Filipino named John. He's not Filipino. Well, no, a lot of Filipinos have Spanish names. Let me see. I had a Juliet, an Elsie, Hector, a lot of Hectors. So, I mean, how much does a truck cost in the U.S.? Well, I was looking at a brand new International was $140,000, and the Cascadia was $130,000. But yeah, there are things that people can do that really mess up. Like there was oh good, Slim Shady's finally out of the accident scene. Oh, Trucker John's married to a Filipina. Okay, well, guess what? I'll tell you a funny story about that. Okay, in the Philippines, they have a national dialect, and then they have their individual dialects. So my friend Atoy, he spoke a different dialect from his wife and her family. So the mother-in-law hated him, and he tried to get in with the family. I actually put this in my book at the post office because it was funny, right? So um, he wound up asking somebody else at the post office to teach him that dialect. So they sit down to Thanksgiving dinner, and he invites everybody, and he stands up and he speaks something that he thought he was saying, "Welcome to my home," or something of that nature, like, "Let's have a good Thanksgiving." And really what he said was something nasty about his mother-in-law's genitalia. And everybody exploded and started screaming and yelling at the dinner table, and he didn't know what was going on, and he's like, what? So you know uh it, it was just funny. You can't trust people. It seems that the International is better than the Freightliners. Well, my 2020 International, I love it. It has a really smooth ride. My Freightliners were very shaky. I've been told that the Freightliners are a little bit better, but the International has some severe air leak issue problems, which is a pain in the neck. I'll be in the shop like every 6 to 8 weeks. I don't like that. It's had stupid things go wrong with it, but I love it. I just absolutely love. International's heavier than the Freightliners, so are the Peterbilts are heavier than the Freightliners, which um, it's harder to note wind at night. I actually have to listen to the wind whistle across the windshield. I've said this before in a couple other videos, because my first International, I'm driving and I'm like, and all of a sudden my trailer went zoom. I was like, what the heck was that? And it was dark. It was night, so you couldn't see trees or grass or anything blowing, no flags blowing. So that was my first uh, induction into, wow, this truck's a lot heavier. But being heavier, it also is going to use more fuel. And as the trucks get older, they use more and more fuel. So that's an issue that if you're going to buy a truck, you have to understand that and realize that. Um, Internationals have air leaks. I thought the Freightliners had air leaks. Well, you got to understand that the new automated manual transmissions, because they're not actually automatic, they call them auto shift, which is actually a trademark registered name. It's sort of like calling, all photocopies a Xerox. But automated manual transmission, the truck itself is doing the shifting for you. My particular truck, so now even the transmission is done by air. And it seems that on the Internationals, they have air leaks. I'm not sure about the Freightliner, but it seems that all of the trucks are going to have some kind of problem. Peterbilt seem to be having some sort of electrical problem. The Volvos are having electrical problems. So the Peets take 40 acres to turn around. I don't think it's quite that far. A Sunset Chaser says, don't have a home base. When over the road, can you stay out and not go back home? When over the road, I can go take home time anywhere I want. So if you look back through my December videos, Maureen and I went home to Vegas with a couple other Prime drivers, and we had a great time at the Wynn Resort. And I've taken home time in Atlanta and met up with some friends. I've gone all different places. I really want to buy you a drink. What's your favorite drink? I don't drink. I'm a truck driver. Hello. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't do any of that stuff because I was messed up, too messed up already without that stuff. I never did it. Um, and honestly, I can't stand seeing drunken people. It just annoys me. Do you know the oldest year model truck Prime will let come in? We eventually do want to buy a truck, but I was wondering if we had to be the newest model or could we get a used one? You can get a used one. you'd have to call because they seem to have changed this over the years. Don't hold me to it, but I'm pretty sure if it's more than 5 years old, they won't let it in. And I think it also has to do with miles, not just the age, the year of the truck. So you'd actually have to call probably the leasing department, but you can buy a truck from Pedigree and then move it over. I know people that have done that. TJ Jones, hi. For those of you who don't watch TJ, go click on him. It's a good channel, good guy to know and talk to. Love TJ. Can you smoke cigars as a trucker? Really? Really? I don't know. Can you smoke cigars not as a trucker? You know what? Now somebody just said, can it pass emissions? Now here's a good point. With the different regulations, especially in California, that they keep putting out, older trucks may have different limits on them. Like I trained in a 2012, and I know the year that I came in, that 2012 didn't have DEF. It didn't have some of the other emissions things that California is requiring. So if you're going to buy a truck, you have to know where are you going to drive and what regulations does, if you're going to drive all the states, you have to know what the states require. A lot of truck drivers do drugs to stay awake. Yeah, well, that's not me. Nothing wrong with a beer on a 34-hour reset. That's true. Why do people think that the word drink means alcohol? Because it just came across that way when I read it. Sorry. I mean, people usually, that's a kind of a pickup line in a bar. That's why. And yes, people say I'm on the Prime Kool-Aid. Yep, the Kool-Aid's sweet. Woohoo! Maybe I could buy me dinner? Really? Okay. I don't know about that. Didn't you just say you're not even in the country? So now you're going to buy me dinner and a drink and you're not even here. See, these are the kinds of people that I wind up getting offers from that they're not even here. So, sorry. I don't know. Maybe if we wind up meeting, we'll see. Zerep. Is it Zerep or Zerep? Hi, Kearsey. My first time coming in your live stream. Kudos for your driving. It's not a great opportunity like it was back in the 70s and 80s. I never drove in those decades, but I heard plenty enough. Well, you know what? It's a good opportunity for me, and I appreciate you, and thank you for coming to the channel. I was a former postal worker, and I'm going to tell you, this is so much better than what I had, and I have so much more money that I really don't care what they did in the 70s and 80s, because honestly, I think they probably smelled. There weren't as many truck stops, there weren't as many places to shower, and it had to be a lot harder for them with not having power steering, and probably didn't have power brakes. And I know people that were driving in the 70s and they were team driving without a bed, so they were actually sleeping in the passenger seat. That's not something I would want to do. Based on California, most prime APUs aren't legal anymore. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know anything about that. So the Cascade, is this Cascadia the working horse for the trucking industry? Here's the deal. Guys want a Peterbilt because they want the reputation. They think it's really cool to have the long nose with the big smokestacks, and I want a Pete, I want a Pete. And I've said that in other videos. I don't know. I'll be a mother trucker is saying if it's older than 3 years old, they won't let the truck into prime. I don't know that. Never heard that one. And the reason being is it would be more than 3 years old to buy it from Pedigree, and then you could bring it on to prime. So that's something I would have to look at. Maybe you can take it onto the power only where you're working off the load boards. Built upon a rock. Hello, just found your channel as someone that's wanting to become a trucker. I'm 31 with a family, a mortgage, car payment, etc. Would over the road, regional, or local be the best option? Um, Honestly, I would probably say regional. Local's hard. People don't want to believe this, but local can be really hard. Number one, local companies usually want a year to 2 years of experience to go local. And even if they do accept you, just, and they're willing to train you, which most local companies are not going to want to train a brand new driver. You have to go to a CDL school, get your CDL, and people think that CDL school is training. It's not. It's just enough to get your driver's license. You learn how to be a trucker in training. So most locals, because of their insurance, are going to want you to have experience. With that said, understand that local is also going to be 12-hour days, 14-hour days. I have friends that drive local and tell me that when they're home, they don't really have quality time at home. Maybe like you get a job where you're working on the weekends off. Okay, that might be great. But a lot of times they're union. You have to start at the bottom, work your way up, build up that seniority. Um, and that's not to say that that's always true, but my personal friends that have gone through that, that's the way it was for them. Um, he wants a green card. Oh, yeah. So RN says cash app her and pay for dinner. Thanks. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, I have a video called Local Rookies. Go look for that one because I have pictures up of what a lot of the local backing looks like. Like I'm from the Northeast, so because it's the Northeast, our buildings are 100 years old. They're not made for the long tractor trailers, and you have to drive up on the curbs and cut across cars that are parked all over the place. It can be really difficult. I've had to back into buildings where I couldn't even open my doors. The doorway was so narrow and tight. So it can be really difficult. Regional will probably get you home sooner, maybe every weekend, every other weekend, but you're going to have to look around for a company that's willing to both train you and give you a regional. It also depends on where you live. Not every place does that. Rail is a good place that offers a lot of home time options. But the more you're home, the less you make. So somebody that I know said to me, "Oh, well, I want to go to Rail because I can work 1 week off and be home for a week." Well, yeah, but then you're only working 6 months out of the year. So then guess what happened? He emailed me and said, "Well, I only made $35,000 this year." Well, yeah, because you only worked half the year. When will trucks install a tiny bathroom in the trucks? Well, some trucks do. You're not going to find that at a company, but there are a lot of customized trucks out there. Han says Kiersey looks sexy today. Thank you. Oh, I'm trying new makeup, new lipstick, new foundation. I wanted to see how this looked. Kind of looks shiny. It wasn't supposed to, so you know, mwah, fishing trucker. Hi, sweetie. How you doing? Uh, I really Then what is the point of buying a truck if when it's paid off you can't use it? Uh, the point of buying a truck for most people is I'm going to go on load boards on spot market and not lease onto a company that I'm going to run under my own authority. And then you pick the loads you want. You work when you feel like it. You work picking up customers that you want to. Um, so that's the point in most people's idea of a truck. I've recently considered buying a truck just because, my mom's getting older and if she actually sits here and watches this, she's going to get mad at me. But she has a heart condition that she doesn't want to admit that she has a heart condition. And it would make my life so much easier if she was willing to come, live near my company, but she's not. So I thought about buying a truck because I could find a cheap truck. Uh, I have enough money to pay. I actually have enough money to buy a brand new truck and pay it in cash. But and then I'd have the freedom to do whatever the heck I want. I thought about that. But something that people have to understand, the insurance rates are going to go up real soon, and they're talking about 18% increase, and it's already really expensive. You could be paying $18,000 to $20,000 for a truck, depending on your license history, even your credit history. So if they're talking about raising that another 18 to 20%, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Last question for you. Do you recommend a standalone GPS? I recommend that you go buy an atlas. Buy a motor carrier's atlas. Learn how to read it. Forget the GPSs. I didn't even have a GPS for my first 2 years. You know why? Because they suck. They tell you to go down bad. It doesn't matter if it's truckers' GPS. I had a Ram McNally. I had and they'll tell you to go down these roads. Even uh, the company provided GPSs can be wrong. I know people that have wound up on in lakes. You can see CRST. It was a big deal. Wound up on the Atlantic City Boardwalk. Somebody wound up on the beach. It's just crazy. Learn how to read an atlas. Use the GPS as a tool, as a guiding system, but not necessarily, your go-to. Hans loves the Kenworth. I've never driven a Kenworth, so I really can't tell you. Wow. I don't know how you guys get these comments in so fast. Do you ever go to California? If not, why? Tons slightly in cheek. Okay. Yes, I do go to California. Yes, there are times I absolutely hate California. When you're running dry van in California, you don't have to deal with the produce. When you're running reefer in California, you have to deal with the produce. And some of these produce people have you sit there for like a whole day. It sucks. Okay. I've been lucky that this year, almost every single California load that I was picking up was a drop and hook. Woohoo! Hi, Mario. Oh, you missed my interview on the Today Show? Well, you can still see it. You can still see it. I'll have to post a link somewhere. Look on my community tab because I probably posted it there. I probably did. And also, if you didn't listen to my marketplace radio on National Public Radio, check that out too. I'm from South America. We speak Dutch here, but I got a lot of family in the US, so I wanted something to drink or eat. I can call them and they will send you. Okay. You don't need to do that. I appreciate it, but you don't need to do that. You're a cool girl. I only know you for a couple minutes, but I feel like we're friends already. Well, that's sweet. I got on Facebook for the first time in like 5 years, and all of a sudden I got a bunch of these friends writing to me too. I'm like, woo. Redneck trucker. I agree. Rail. It's rail. It's ROEHL. And they do different kinds of things. So you could be out for 2 weeks and be home for 3 days, and then out for 2 weeks and be home for 4 days. They have all different kinds of accounts and different dedicated routes. And but it is split. A lot of it is slip seat. Get that out of my mouth. Slip seat, which means that it's not your truck. Somebody else is driving the truck while you're home. Does Prime have dedicated accounts? Yes, Prime has dedicated accounts. It's going to depend on where you are. There seem to be more in the Northeast, but we do have a couple Walmart dedicateds. You'd have to ask recruiting. You'd have to ask our planners. This is something I just talked to one of our departments about because it's not really publicized where these accounts are. It's kind of like, of course, it's more based on where you live. So that would be something you'd have to look into. What do you think about jet set positions some companies offer? I guess they fly you to different states and then you drive from there for a few weeks and then they fly you to the next one. I don't know. I couldn't do it. Do you have any idea how much stuff I have on my truck? I have like uh, 2 months worth of clothes. I have like, I don't know, all my hair. I have at least like 8 or 10 wigs. I mean, and my makeup. I mean, Jesus, I can't even believe that I can fit Maureen on my truck. So, so trust me when I tell you, oh, that would be too difficult for me. I don't want to do that. Yes, Prime has the slowest company trucks out there. This is true. We're 58 on the pedal and 62 on the cruise control. Wow, that's awesome. You can buy a new truck. Well, guess what? My first 2 years at Prime, I paid off $70,000 in debt. I couldn't even afford bankruptcy when I came to the company. So yes, not only did I pay that off, but I have enough in my bank, and I have money in my 401k that yes, if I wanted to go buy a truck in cash, I absolutely could. Do I have a GPS now? Yes, I have a GPS. Prime gives us one, and I have a Ram McNally. But um, ZREP says, yeah, GPSs are always designed for four-wheelers. I do have one. I pretty much, what I do is I set my company one for my customer, and I use the Ram McNally to find my stops along the way. Like if I want a truck stop or a rest area or something like that for parking. So I might set this one for my fuel stop and then the company one for my customer. And that way I can always gauge my time and my trip planning that way. Redneck trucker, I wound up in a bar. Following your GPS, you wound up in a bar. Was it a strip club? From my understanding, if you bought the truck through Chrome, I guess you mean Prime, you could drive it for years as long as it passed inspection and you could stay with the company. Okay. I don't know. I mean, my trainer had bought a 2012. It was paid off by the time I got on the truck. She was able to keep it, but it was like grandfathered in. But it depends on how you did it. And if you bought a truck and you brought it from outside, then it was different. Um, Also, like my friend who got to the end of his lease, the Prime's lease allows you at the 2 year mark to pay off the truck if you want. Um, in a conventional lease, what they call a walk away lease, that's not a lease purchase, and they give you a certain amount of money, but a certain amount of price. And then at the end of the lease, but when he did it at the end of the lease and he wanted to buy the truck, they turned around and told him it had too many miles on it. So the only option he had was to not buy it through Prime, but to buy it through the used truck thing. Han says that that's because morons use GPS and they don't read signs. That's true. Maria says, I'll check it out. Oh my God, I wonder why it was I had you subscribed. Now that you mentioned the NPR Marketplace, I probably heard you there. Oh, yeah, you heard me on the Marketplace. So, welcome to my channel. This is the first time you get to talk to me live. How do you like that? And it was interesting because uh, my sister's husband listens to that show every day, and they live in Hawaii. So my mother was on the phone telling them, "Oh, Kearsey's going to be on the Marketplace," and her husband didn't believe it and said, "Oh yeah, right." And then the next week, when the show aired, he came running in and says, "Your sister's on Marketplace." And then since that interview, I've wound up getting other offers to write for trucking magazines. I got the Today Show. If you didn't see that, Z-Rap, go check that out. I was on the Today Show, which is cool. Woohoo! uh, okay. I heard today that Prime doesn't do any drive-in. Nope, we don't. What we do is we turn off the reefers. We do drive loads. We just lump it in with the reefers. So I've picked up at Michelin. We do things like, like Heinz ketchup or mustard, dry goods, things like that. I do a lot of pet food products. I've done sand. I have a video where Maureen's backing up, and what it was it was a load of sand that they dumped in the trailer. It's some kind of special sand, special dirt. I don't know. It's gypsum something, right? And they actually took the entire trailer and dumped it upside down, and they shook it like this, and it's really kind of cool. Didn't I put it on YouTube already? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. What I put on YouTube. What is it? Fred F., how long have you been at Prime? I've been at Prime for 5.5 years. I came through the training program myself. Um, yeah, necessities, my hair or makeup, absolutely. You think I'm kidding? You won't believe how much stuff you have to get on that truck. And when I brought, I was dating somebody last year. When I brought him onto the truck, we wound up like splitting the top bunk in half. But when you have to bring a student on, you have to, and that's something that the dispatch doesn't realize, because they'll be like, oh, well, we need trainers. We need trainers. Okay. Well, you can't just ask me to train. Like, I need to go home and get my stuff off the truck. Where do you think I'm going to strap the student on I'm going to strap the student on the bumper? Like, where are they going to sleep? Like, people just don't understand. uh, uh, yeah, Farouk, I was on the Today Show. If you type in essential women workers, essential women workers, you'll see me on there. There were 3 of us. They did a postal worker, and which is funny because I was a postal worker, and then also a food line cook. She worked in a restaurant. I drove 3 years myself for Werner and Martin. That was 2005 and 2008. Well, guess what, Zarep? We just had a question about Werner. So why don't you put that in there and tell us what you thought about Werner and Martin too? Because I had a friend that was on dedicated Martin in Florida and Georgia, and she really liked it. Yeah, at ZREP, please mention the downside for others to learn. The worst load I got was a paper load, 6 large rolls that were taller than myself. They moved in the box. Ew. Barry, what's your opinion on the release of the 30,000 mile TNT? Well, guess what? Over the years, Prime has had this like back and forth at all different um, miles and time lengths. Like before I came, it was at one point it was 6 months. When I came, I went through and it was 30,000. So they're only putting it back to what it was when I started. That doesn't mean that if you want more than 30,000 that they won't allow you to do it. You can actually stay on the truck as long as you want. I think that they want you to they want you to no longer than 6 months. I shouldn't say as long as you want, but they'll give you as much training as you really think you need. And then at like the 6 month mark, then they'd probably sit there and say, hey, but no hippie truck and transportation, if you know him, he was on his trainer's truck for like 120,000 miles, something like that. Nobody kicked him off. He decided to upgrade and go lease, and things worked out. But my current co-driver, she did 60 something thousand miles with me. It all depends on the person, and it depends on how much like driving you did as a car driver. It depends on how comfortable you are in different places, even in the winter driving and stuff like that. Like, I came from New Jersey. So for New Jersey, I'm used to dealing with the snow and all that. Yeah, my camera keeps shutting off. I don't know why. It says my camera's unplugged, which makes no sense to me whatsoever. When I crossed the border into Utah, I got tagged at the weigh station. Thank goodness I didn't have to cover the fine. What fine? Tagged for what? Slim Shady says she's done the gypsum sand load. Yeah, that's the dirt load. That 30,000 is with eligibility, no critical events, no tickets, no incidents to qualify. That's true, but you know what? That's the way it always was. Even when I went, it's a minimum. Even the 50,000 miles was a minimum of 50,000 miles. So, safety, uh, if they think that you had an accident, a ticket, if you're having too many rollover alerts or hard braking events and things like that, um, yeah, you're going to have an issue. They're going to hold you. When I did it, they also had the sim lab did an evaluation on your backing, and we were told that we'd have to do an extra 10,000 miles if we couldn't do this pass the sim test. As a company driver, what I didn't like was getting load assignments that required work by the driver on the dock or the drive-in. Okay, I don't get that. I don't go on the dock. Not unless sometimes it's a produce load and I have to count the pallets, but if it happens once every couple months, that's more. Since they pay by the mile, that's free labor. Yeah, and because reefer, a lot of times I'm sitting in the dock, and I'm getting paid detention, so I go to sleep. So I kind of look at it as okay. People will say, "Oh, I'm not getting paid as enough per mile." Well, I'm getting paid to sleep when I'm at the customer. I also got a multi-shipper load, and the first shipper misloaded the freight, loaded to the tail, so the next stop had no room to the load. Yeah, it was back reworking. I thought the rework, yeah, that sucks. When you have to deal with something like that and you're going on and on. Yeah, there are just things about here that it's just kind of like, well, it's just trucking. That's part of trucking. And that fine was the rolled paper load. The rolls walked forward inside the dry van. The weight distribute. Oh, okay. I understand what you're saying. So the tandems were over in violation of weight, and you had a $700 fine. That sucks. Hi, Larry. How you doing? Say hi to the wife for me. uh, I had a trainer at Werner who refused to let me go line 4, but had me help him work the load. He was the one on duty, and I was technically in the bunk. That's illegal. Yes, it is. I wouldn't do that. And I wouldn't, as a trainer, I wouldn't expect my student to do that. I teach my students the right things to do, and that's on them on what they do. It's their logs, and they have to learn. It's just like, this is their CDL, and I'm going to try to guide them as much as possible. But, I'm not going to feel bad if they go and hit something. I can only say, watch your mirrors so much. Always remember, if they have you as a company driver and you pay by the mile, unless you're moving, you're not getting paid. And any work while stationary is free labor. This is true. But you know what? I I don't know. I personally, I've done so much crap at other jobs that this is like heaven to me. It really is. I get to do what I want and go where I want, and nobody bothers me, and I go home when I want. I take home time all over the country where I want. So I'm happy. I'm really happy. And I hope that everybody can, if you can't if you can't be happy where you are, regardless of whether you're in an office job right now or you're in a trucking company and a trucking job that you're not happy, if you're not happy where you are, please leave. Go find some place where you can be happy, because I was miserable. I was miserable where I was, and I felt stuck. And I've done videos about this before where I felt stuck. And that is a horrible, horrible feeling. I don't ever want to feel stuck. So I've been on for over 2 hours now, guys. So I want to say, oh, Shadow Wolf, mwah, mwah, thank you. Hi. And I was just about to cut it out. So I want to thank you guys. Check out Lockout Men podcast tonight. Going to be on there. And, oh, I'm sorry. Gave up your CDL 3 years ago. You had enough. Check out Lockout Men. Check out the NPR Marketplace Radio. I've got a link down below. Hey, Hensley Show. Mwah, how you doing? Say hi to Amanda. I was just about to cut out because I'm going to be going on Lockout Men, and check out the Today Show where I did that interview. And I appreciate all you guys always. Have a great day, and I hope to see you guguys out here trucking along. Bye, everybody. Mwah.